You must see ZRNG.
You must see.
You must see.
What's up, guys? We're talking about bulking.
Woo, bulking!
Bulking today. Stay tuned. Watch the whole video because we're going to show you how to actually calculate your calories and what the best macro split we think for you is going to be. What we used. This is what we used.
So
and look at us.
So you know it's right. Yeah.
You
Happy
look.
now.
Look.
Like,
Okay.
Okay.
Guys, we're going to talk about our bulking video. We started our bulk.
We started our bulk back at the end of September. So, for those of you that don't know, we did a 21-day shred starting September 1st through September 21st. 21st, yes. Yes, because it was a 21-day shred. And then we took a week off of like trying to shred and trying to do whatever, and just did a maintaining week. So we just maintained our calories. We stayed right where we were. We were still working out. And then at the end of September, like a week after we got done shredding, we started our bulk.
Yeah. So why would you bulk? Why would you want to do this? So a lot of people are doing it because they want to try to actually get stronger. They want to put on some muscle to their frame. And in order to do that, you have to be in what we call a calorie surplus to do this. So that's what we did. So we went from a shred to a bulk, and essentially that's 1,000 calories difference. So we decided we were going to do it one night, and we set our calories in MyFitnessPal and then started tracking from there. And then, so for me, in the beginning, it was just a drastic amount of calories. I mean, I was going from 2,100, 2,200 calories a day shredding, and then all of a sudden I was going to 3,800 calories every single day. So for me, it was a really big drastic switch from a body that took me a while to get to that point. What was it like for you?
I was excited at first just because I had cut my calories pretty drastically during the shred, just because I wanted to see what my body was capable of in just a short amount of time. But yeah, the bulk was completely different for me.
But you liked it in the beginning.
I really liked it in the beginning. I went back to eating breakfast, so we did the intermittent fasting with the shred. So we weren't eating breakfast in the morning at all, and so then every day on the bulk I had oatmeal and protein.
You never used to like oatmeal.
I hated it. When we lived in Switzerland, we were like, I would look at your oatmeal and be like, ew, get away from me, that looks so nasty.
Now you eat oatmeal 9 times a day.
I eat it probably 9 times a day. No, but really, I probably eat it twice a day. Morning and night, I definitely ate it all the time. So I was super excited because I think I got really, really small during the shred.
Yeah. And
I had lost a lot of, my booty had gone down really, really small. So I was really excited for it at first. And it wasn't that my feelings about it changed.
Feelings about what?
The bulk. From being excited from the very first day till the very last day.
Yeah.
I think just eating all the food throughout the whole thing just made me a lot more tired.
Yeah, definitely.
Because my body was constantly trying to work to break down that food, where on the shred it was I wasn't having nearly as much. So I just felt lighter, and I felt like I had more energy, and I was able to think clear.
While you were in your shred?
While I was on the shred, sorry, yes.
Yes.
And then on the bulk, I just felt heavy.
Yeah. So for me, the amount of protein went from me having about 200 grams to about 300 grams on the bulk. So I realized that's a lot of protein. 300 grams of protein is a lot of protein. So we definitely had a supplement, but I don't think if I would have had that, if I wouldn't have reached 300 grams of protein, my body would have changed drastically in the sense that I would have put on a lot more body fat.
100%.
Because with that protein and us lifting every day, I think it definitely helps not try to stop that body fat from being too drastic of a change.
Well, and the thing was, we both even said it about each other. We're we still have our abs, and we were amazed throughout the process of bulking, how your abs could still be showing even, they were visible through this whole process. Because when you're putting on weight like that and you're constantly eating, you feel oh my god, I'm gonna have a big stomach. And don't get me wrong, I'm a lot fluffier than I was during the shred, but I don't feel like it's all just fat. I feel like I definitely put on more muscle because of the protein. I went from 100 and I think I was eating about 130 to 140 grams of protein on the shred, to the bulk where I was eating 220, 230. So I increased it about 100 grams as well. So
Yeah.
it's just a lot.
So in the beginning, I weighed 215. I was 12.7% body fat right after our maintenance day. So we went to shred, we did 1 week of maintenance, and I was 215 and 12.7% body fats. My heaviest that I got to during the bulk was 222.9, so almost 8 pounds. And then my body fat was 14.9 at the heaviest, and today I was at 219, 219.1%, or 219 pounds, 14.8% body fat. So it went up about 2% body fat and probably about 4 pounds.
But you saw your weight fluctuate throughout the whole process of bulking, right? Like some days it would be a little bit higher with your weight, some days it would be lower. And we didn't have like a schedulized, like, oh, we're gonna like weigh ourselves in every Monday or weigh ourselves every Friday. We kind of just like did it whenever we we tracked it on the board, so we always saw it every time we walked in the gym, and we were like, oh, we should just, measure ourselves. So we weren't really like strategic about the whole like the timing of the days and stuff either. But for me, I started at 149 pounds at 19% body fat. And then today, at the end of our bulk, I'm weighing at 156.9 at 22.9% body fat. So I went up 8 pounds and I gained just about 4% in body fat, which is pretty good for about a little over a month of bulking. I feel like that's a lot.
Yeah. For me, there's some things I didn't like. I started stop eating vegetables because I felt like I had to get foods that were high in calories. And vegetables are usually not high in calories, but we know that they are important for us. They have all types of benefits as far as like phytonutrients, all kinds of stuff, right? So that's something that I stopped that I now feel like I really need to get back to. So I'm making that a priority now. And then another thing was that we were lifting so much that, it wasn't to the point where we were like training 2 or 3 times a day, but we lifted every day. So we got to the point where we trained for like 3 weeks in a row without a day off. And then I think it got to me to the point where I felt less mobile. I felt like I was putting on so much muscle like in my back and in my shoulders that I was losing my mobility, which then was causing me tightness and then didn't make me feel good. So then I started adding mobility this past week because I felt like I was really lacking in the area. And then it just led to me being lethargic because I felt like I was stiff, and then it led to me like feeling bad because I wasn't eating vegetables. And then so that's why my weight I think fluctuated a little bit throughout the whole thing, because then I didn't want to track. There was a few like days, probably like 4 or 5 days in a row where we didn't track and we got off track. So because we thought we could just do it without tracking, and so we just got a little lazy at the very end. And I don't know if it's just because we felt like we were busy, or if we were sick of the process of bulking or what. But if you guys are going to do it, I would say make sure you get protein every day. You have to get to your protein points. I would lift 5 to 6 times a week if you're trying to put on muscle. And then I would say stretch. Stretch, I felt like crap if I didn't stretch. So yeah, those are some of my tips, I would say. And have vegetables. Otherwise, you start feeling like you're only eating carbs and protein, and that's not super awesome.
I think for me, the hardest part, like you said, where we weren't as religious about the tracking.
Yeah.
We definitely let ourselves kind of like be a little bit more flexible during the bulk than the shred. Yeah. During the shred, we were super focused, so we didn't have any junk food. We didn't have any alcohol. Well, we had one day in that 21 days, one night. We went to a concert. Beyonce and Jay-Z made us do it. But we didn't track religiously. Some days I did hit my protein. Well, I'll say this. Most days I did actually hit my protein. I would say the majority of the time on the bulk I hit the amount of protein I was supposed to. And if I didn't hit it, I came close. But the days that we didn't track, I know that I wasn't at my protein level of where I should have been. And then we also had some alcohol on the bulk, and then we also ate like pizza. I know like Halloween was around during this time, so I had candy. There was a couple days where there were
no candy.
Donuts. Don't lie, you had Reese's. more
But
than
I
one
think
time.
that's okay. Like, but when it comes to a bulk, training is going to be the number one most important
Yes. But it's just those different things that I was eating didn't make me feel like, I don't know. I just felt like they weighed me down more.
thing. Yeah, of course.
And so I definitely thought that I was just more like having fun on the bulk when those things were happening. I don't know. That's just how I felt.
Yeah.
But I think just the tracking process for me was really like, I wish I would have been more dedicated, especially towards the end, because there were like you said, like 5-6 days where we just didn't track. So, but the other thing that was harder for me, like as we kept going through this, was my mindset. Because I started seeing like my legs get bigger. I started seeing my stomach get bigger. And I'm like, okay, I worked so hard during this shred to shred off the weight. And then all of a sudden I see like it coming back and I'm like, ugh. And it's not bad weight. And I know that. But still, it was hard to just say, push it to the side, it'll go off eventually. Just right now, this is what I need to do. So.
Yeah, and you can't have one without the other. You can't decide that you're going to you go into a surplus and not gain body fat. It's just something that you're going to have to deal with during the time. And the same thing goes for a shred. You're not just going to put on muscle mass and start hitting 1 rep maxes and new PRs every week because you're shredding. You don't have the energy to do so. So you have to figure out that there is a balance, one or the other. So you're going to bulk, you're going to put on body fats, but you're going to get stronger and maybe have a little more energy, or you're going to shred and you're going to have maybe a little less energy and maybe be a little more hungry, but you'll start to lean out. So there's always a trade-off of these things, and it's hard to tell like clients that, you know, you're going to have, I want you to shred and have the best deadlift and bench press that you've ever done your whole life. And you can do that in the beginning, but once you start adapting to working out, it's something you have to pick and choose. There's a sacrifice to it in the end. So,
I mean, for the most part, the other thing I want to talk about is the food choices that we had for the majority of the time on the bulk. They weren't any different than the shred. So we were still eating like chicken, ground turkey, tuna, protein shakes like crazy. We mix protein in our oatmeal all the time. So we're still having like the same types of food from all these different sources. Carbs, we stuck to a lot of potatoes and rice. Fats, we had lots of oils, some avocado. What else?
I don't know.
Cheese,
I didn't even know
a little bit of
avocado was
then.
bulk. You ate avocados bulk.
On the guacamole,
Oh,
there's fats in there.
Guacamole ain't avocado.
That has avocados in it. Are you crazy? You crazy. He doesn't ever cook it or make it, so he doesn't ever know.
You ain't cooking up guacamole?
I'm whipping it up.
You buying it?
I'm scooping it. Anyways, for the majority of the food sources that we ate on the bulk, they were the exact same on the shred. We just, obviously, the quantity of it was way higher than the shred. So, don't change it if that's what you're wanting to do with the bulk, okay?
Bugs, man.
Smacking yourself.
There's bugs, okay?
It's Texas, get over it.
So, bulk, just know that there's going to be a trade-off with everything you do. Bulking, you're going to get stronger. You're going to put body fat on. Shredding, you're going to shred. You may be harder, hungry.
We like to talk with our hands.
Yeah, of course. So that's kind of our experience with it. Now, how can you bulk? What are the calorie points should I be doing? How much protein should I be having? What kind of macros should I be looking at? So when it comes to a bulk, you need to be thinking about what is your body weight right now, and then times that by 16, and then times that by 18. That will be your calorie range from then on out. So if I'm I don't even know. I don't want to do the math right now. But if you're 200 pounds, times it by 16, that number is your daily calorie intake, and then times your body weight times 18, and that is the higher end. So there's a low end and a high end. Try to stick within that range every single day. Now, what should my macros look like? You should probably be about 35% protein. You should probably be about 40% carbohydrates and 25% fats. That's probably going to be the best place for you to start on a bulk. That's for most people. Now, it's not for everybody, but that is a great place for you to start. Your body's going to react differently to everybody else's, so make sure you start with those 2 points, and those are usually 2 great places to begin. Again, you need to be thinking about lifting 4 to 6 times a week if you can. Try to limit your cardio as much as possible. Sometimes we don't really want to burn off those calories when we're trying to build ourselves up. When you go back into a shred or a maintenance, you can add that cardio back in, but try to limit it during this time as much as possible. We'd say somewhere between 4 to 12 weeks to do a bulk, and then do the same for a shred, or if you want to go into maintenance because you're happy where you're at, that's cool too. So that's what we would suggest for you to bulk.
Perfect.
Perfect.
You covered it all. Hit that protein.
Hit your protein. It's important.
It's really important. So make sure you're tracking it, you're aware of it, because it can not happen if you're not aware. So be aware.
Let us know what you thought of the video. If there's something that we can answer for you, if there's a video you'd like to see us do, let us know, and we're out.
Get some muscle.
Check my leg meat though.
No, but look at my bicep. Oh my god.
Get off me.
Oh my god.